In this video, we'll talk about the 5 things you want to do before you hand in your resignation. Welcome to part 2 of my unemployment to employment diary. I left my job in May of last year, and there are some things I did and some things I wish I had done before handing in my resignation, and those are the things that we will talk about in this video today. Here, I am assuming that after thinking long and hard about why you would want to leave your job, making a pros and cons list, thinking strategically, not emotionally, you have come to the conclusion that you do, in fact, want to step away from your corporate role. We'll cover the things that are directly tied to your job and the things that help if you have a job. I also want to add a disclaimer that this is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. This is just my personal experience. So please, before making any decision, please do consult a professional. Also, I do want to point out that this may be a trigger for some people. So if you think that your situation is very different from mine and watching this video may make you feel a certain way, please feel free to skip this video. There are timestamps in the description box below, so if you are interested in one particular area, you can skip ahead. The very first thing to check, and in my opinion, the most important, is having an emergency fund. I emphasized this in my last video as well, that it is very important to have a rainy day fund before resigning. I believe the recommended amount is 3 to 6 months, but in my opinion, staying on the lower end of that spectrum is not a good idea, especially in this job market. Even if you're leaving to pursue a business, you do not want to have just 3 months of funds, whether or not you think your business idea is good. I believe the average time it takes to find a new job in this market is about 5 to 6 months, and that's also how long it took me to find the position that I am currently in. So you don't want to put yourself in a position where you are constantly stressing about money every single day. Again, please note that I understand that I was in a privileged position to have 6 months of funds. So I'm mainly speaking to people who are in a similar position and have a few months of expenses saved or have the ability to do so. So look through your financials and check your average spending for the last 6 months and then round up. If you do not budget, it is extremely important that you start doing so to know where and how you spend your money. Understanding your spending habits is arguably the most important and first step in pursuing financial freedom. If you do not know how to budget or it's very overwhelming, let me know in the comments below and I'll make a video for that as well. The next 3 points are items related directly to your job. Most corporate jobs have benefits that they give to their full-time employees. It always surprises me that people don't use these benefits because this is part of your compensation package. You should use them regardless of whether or not you want to leave your job. But if you are thinking of resigning, make sure that you use it as much as you can. Some of the things that I did was I went to my dentist, got a checkup, cleaning, general hygiene. I got glasses, I got my eyes checked. I went to my massage therapist, who is also a chiropractor, so I got that done. I even went to a podiatrist. I just made sure that I used all my remaining benefits. You also want to go to your family doctor and load up on your prescriptions, get your prescription refills. The visit to your doctor is free and part of health insurance in Canada, but the prescriptions are not. And depending on what your medical conditions are and what medicines you do use, these amounts can really add up. So before you leave, make sure you pay a visit to your family doctor. The next thing that is directly tied to your job are the group benefits like retirement savings and retirement pension plans. A lot of companies also match your contributions up to a certain percentage. So you contribute a percentage of your income to your retirement and the company will match your percentage. However, a lot of companies have vesting periods, which basically means that if you were to leave your job, in that time period, they will take back the contribution. So for my previous job, the company had a policy where they would match up to 2% of the contribution I made to my retirement account. But there was no vesting period, which means I could leave the job anytime and the company would not take back their contribution. If that was the case and it was not too far out, I probably would have stayed until that vesting period was over because the amount that the company had contributed was significant enough. The next thing is to check for any penalties involved in you leaving the company before a certain time period. I was not aware of this because it did not apply to my contract. But when I was researching for this video, just to make sure that I hadn't missed anything out, I found that this applies to many companies. And it could be for multiple reasons. For example, if they relocated you and took care of all the expenses, they might have a clause stating that you have to stay with the company for a certain period of time. Otherwise, they would charge you for any prorated expenses. And this could also apply to signing bonuses. So before you leave, make sure you read every single line in your contract. And if you are confused, you can ask a financial advisor or a lawyer or your HR what a certain clause means in the contract. I would suggest, however, not to disclose any of your plans to your HR because unfortunately, HR is not your friend. They work for the company, they work for the shareholders. They do not have your best interests at heart. So if you have any plans of leaving the company, I would not disclose that to human resources. But you can always ask them what a particular clause in a contract means. I personally never sign anything until I have a full understanding of what every single item means in my contract, and I ask as many questions as I want, no matter how awkward it gets. Okay, so this next thing is something I wish I personally had done. And this only applies to you if you are financially literate or if you are very good with managing your money. And if you don't rack up on consumer debt. You should consider opening a line of credit or upgrading your line of credit if you already have one opened. If you are making your payments on time, again, emphasizing that if you are making your payments on time, you can ask to reset your interest rate if you haven't done that in a while, because most likely your bank will lower your interest rate. However, they will need recent paychecks. So if you have already resigned and you don't have recent pay stubs to show, they will not do that. Also, you cannot be thinking of this amount as your emergency fund or anything crazy like that. You shouldn't even consider this as money that you have when you are thinking about quitting your job. This is just so that you can have access to loans with a lower interest rate. So the next thing that you want to do before handing in your resignation is get a sense of what the job market is like. The interview processes are really long nowadays, and I struggled a lot with that because I had an understanding of what the job market was like because I had started giving interviews before handing in my resignation, but I didn't realize how long it would actually take for me to find something. The interviews I gave had up to 6-7 rounds and could take anywhere between a month to 2 months to just reach the final round. This included HR screening calls, self-recorded video calls, then calls with team members, technical assessments, case studies, panel interviews for those case studies. I even had a 4-hour-long live case study for a management consultant position, and this was the 4th or 5th round, after which I got rejected. Anyway, so start applying right now, upgrade your resume, talk to your friends, see if they have any open roles in their companies that they can refer you. The next thing you want to do is look for any freelancing gigs or any part-time jobs, because in this market, even that is very hard to find. And this is regardless of you having enough of an emergency fund. You just want to have a plan B in case it takes you longer than anticipated to find a job. So for example, I had a 2-month part-time gig lined up and I knew that it was going to give me enough for another 2 months. And also in 2021, when I bought my car, I used to do Amazon Flex shifts that I stopped doing because I just didn't want to. But before leaving my job, I opened up my account. I made sure that I could actually pick up those shifts. I even did a few to get an idea of how much money I could make in case my emergency funds ran out. The next thing is a little sensitive and I'm not sure what the reaction would be, but I would say that make sure you know your rights. I have a lot of friends in my industry who have been laid off, and I also know a few people who left without having another job lined up. And talking to them made me realize that people are in very terrible positions in their jobs. And usually you take a step out of fear, or maybe you make rash decisions out of fear, but that usually happens when you don't know what your rights are and you don't know how to navigate through that. So even if you are not thinking of leaving a job, it's always good to just know what your rights are as an employee. Which brings me to my last point, which is about employment insurance, also known as EI. Now, you may think that you are only eligible for employment insurance if you are laid off or fired, basically terminated from your job, but that is not the case. EI also covers things like wrongful termination, health issues, and many different things. I will link Canada's employment insurance guide in the description box below, and I highly recommend you check it out and just keep it in your back pocket so that you know your rights. And before taking any steps, always consult a professional. With that, I would also say that if you are not in a terrible position in your job, Do not quit. Look for other jobs, start interviewing. And if you are in a position where your work is no longer appreciated and you know that you want to leave that environment, don't quit. Let them fire you. I always thought that if I was laid off or if I was fired or if I left my job, bad things would happen and nobody else would want me and I would never get a referral. Nothing is true. Life doesn't work like that. It has ups and downs. Things get better over time. Things get worse over time. You never stay in the same season for the rest of your life. In my next and last video of this unemployment series, I'll talk about what my experience was during unemployment and the skills that might help you to look for your next job. Thank you for spending your precious time with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.